The Dillinger Escape Plan so pionirji mathcora in prava glasbena poslastica. Zamenjali so več članov kot Axl Rose Nogavic, po izidu 4. studijskega albuma Option Paralysis pa so se odpravili na svetovno turnejo. Obiskali smo jih na Dunaju v klubu Szene.
Z mano je pevc, Greg Puciato.
Puciato, that's it.
Puciato. He's, and an old man next to me, breathing on my neck. I have no idea who the old man is.
I don't know who he is either.
Can we check under the... yeah, okay. Puciato.
That's it.
Italian.
It's not.
No, okay.
No. It's Nigerian, actually.
Nigerian?
Yeah, it's my great-grandfather was from Nigeria, and the spelling got screwed up. It used to be spelled differently. There used to be an H in it and all this other stuff. It's a really... But everyone thinks it's Italian, and I only say that it's it's got the O at the end. It used to not have an O. It was like there was like an A or something at the end of it, but now I only say it's Italian if I'm at like an Italian restaurant. Okay, so they give me free food, you know.
So I introduced you, but who are you? Can you introduce yourself?
Old man Weinman.
Wow, okay, old man Weinman, okay, good. I think this is Ben Weinman.
Weinman.
What?
Weinman.
Weinman.
Yeah,
okay.
Weinman.
I know you guys made your own record label, so you can have better control of what you're doing, so you're more independent, so nobody's forcing you into anything.
You gotta take matters in your own hands, you know?
Yes, definitely. Do you think... Exactly. Do you think this is the future now? Do you think we should all become more independent?
No.
No. What do you think?
I mean, I think obviously with the internet being where it is now, the playing field is pretty level. You know, if you're savvy enough with the internet and things like Twitter and Facebook, and you can keep your nose to the ground because all that stuff moves very quickly, you can make as big of a wave as, you know, the major players with a lot more money can. You know, if you work hard and you, like I said, you know how to use the field to your advantage. You know, I think it is the perfect time for everybody to go independent. Honestly,
I like radio programs.
Radio programs.
Yeah, like the Yellow Hornet.
Yeah, but radio programs in Slovenia are...
They're good programs. They had good programs in my day. They had the programs. You come home from school and you listen to the radio programs and you use your imagination, goddammit!
Okay, the next thing I want to know is the process of production of your music, differs from mainstream. It's different. How does this whole process look when you're producing songs?
I don't think necessarily we write songs much differently than anyone else. You know, it's not like we have some secret underground way that we write songs that that's different than, you know, a lot of other bands. I mean, it starts a lot with Ben. He usually writes, you know, 99.9% of the music, you know, and then I write the lyrics and the vocals, and everyone adds, you know, their bits as the songs form. So I mean, it's not too much different. I mean, the only thing that we don't spend a lot of time sitting around jamming. Like you know, we don't jam a lot. It's kind of impossible. You know, it'd sound like noisier than it already is. But I think the thing that sets us apart is that we have no limitations to what we want to do. You know, we don't really put parameters around ourselves and say that oh, we could never do that, or we don't really put glass ceilings on ourselves. You know, and I mean that inhibits us in some ways, because from a marketing standpoint we don't have a target audience the way a Slayer or something like that does. But it feels really free as an artist, you know, to be able to do whatever you want, and you know what we were saying before about having total control over everything, from a business standpoint, we definitely are way more hands-on on a grassroots level in every single way than most bands our size that are on major labels ever would be. So
I just want to know how you became the kings of your scene. That's what you are.
I really don't understand how it happened. It was such a slow process, honestly, you know, that I think the key for us was that we never really looked within the scene for inspiration, and I think that's what set us apart from a lot of people, is that we never really where even though we would tour with our peers, we never were like very influenced by what was happening around us, and we took our influences from really far away, you know, from different genres and different styles, and instead of being like, oh, let's listen to this band's record that just came out, we want to, you know, and because that becomes very incestuous after a point, and then everyone starts to sound the same, you know. So the fact that I think that we were consciously taking influences from, you know, whether it be like electronic music or jazz or things like that, or Latin music, and trying to funnel it through what we were doing, instead of just taking influences from, you know, Earth Crisis or Slayer or Metallica or you know, Black Flag or something like that. Like, I think that it really helped us stand apart, and honestly, we just are. We're extreme perfectionists. You know, we're very driven. I don't really know how it happened. It's just a very slow thing, and I didn't really realize it until the last few years when bands would play with us that were, you know, almost as big as we are, and they would be like, you know, 5 years younger than us or something like that, and they would be like, man, you guys were like 10 years ago, I saw you guys, and it was like, I'm just like, what? You know, like, I feel like you're too old to have seen us 10 years ago, or like, you know, you're too young to see us 10 years ago, but now it's starting to feel like a kind of cool mix between the fact that we're still a young band in the big picture, but we're kind of like a elder statesman in our scene, so it's kind of a cool mix.
Do you feel like famous, or would you say?
No, that's a relative term.
I know, but
I mean, Michael Jordan's famous, you know. You know, it really is relative. Fame is about what matters to you personally. You know what I mean? Like, I've met people who, to me, were a huge deal, and I've met people that to most of the world would be a big deal that weren't a big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like, if you stand next to Ozzy, some people would be like, oh my God, that's Ozzy. Ozzy was never a big deal to me, so I wouldn't be like, holy shit, if Ozzy walked in here right now, you know? Yeah, like, to me, HR from the Bad Brains, if HR from the Bad Brains walked in right now, I'd be fucking like taking my phone out and trying to like take pictures of him.
I know, because that's what I wanted to say.
He's so much smaller than a guy like Ozzy, who I wouldn't be doing that with. You know what I mean?
Before I sat down with you, I was like feeling so nervous.
Oh, that's funny to me.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking these things. I've also heard and read in various interviews that you've been through a lot. You had hard times, problems, stuff like that.
I lost my hearing in 1997. Which probably has a lot to do with the
Which
sound
year?
of our
Which year?
music.
Which year? In which year should I?
Your goddamn thing.
But you can hear me well.
I thought it.
Yeah, you can hear me quite well.
I don't know a damn thing. Stop.
Are you just
I
talking
can't understand
like
a goddamn thing you're saying.
gibberish? Okay.
Tell you, my wife Ingrid, her tits are so saggy. I can perform oral sex on her and suck on her breasts at the same time. That's fame, not this rickety-rack music.
Okay.
That's skills.
But no, seriously, like, have the problems contributed to making your music better?
Yeah, of course. I don't think you have much to say as an artist if you haven't gone through extremes of highs and extreme lows. You know, I think the process of art is basically taking some type of influence in from your life and spitting it back out into some sort of artistic medium. And by the time you get it to the listener or the viewer or whatever kind of art you're making, it's already going to be distilled a lot. You know, so whatever you were feeling at the time, by the time it gets to the end result, it's not going to be as pure as the initial feeling. Just because it can't be, you're never going to make someone feel what you were feeling. So in order to make someone feel slightly sad or slightly happy or slightly angry or slightly excited, you have to write from a place of like extreme sadness or extreme happiness. You have to have touched like extremes, in my opinion, to end up having anything worth saying. And we've been extremely poor, we've been, you know, extremely like destitute, we've lost massive people in our lives, we've lost, you know, massive ground in this band at times, and we've had extreme highs at the same time. So, and that's only because of how long we've been around and the fact that we just keep going at the expense of our personal lives often, you know. And I think it's definitely, it adds character to your music, you know, to me.
We would really like to know, actually, I would like to know, and probably other people would like to know as well, because I know you've had loads of injuries and stuff like that on the stage, but what's the craziest
This is your most original
thing,
question.
what's the craziest thing that happened on the stage? No, seriously, excluding injuries. Don't tell me about injuries, because I know you had loads, but is there something really, really crazy, like an anecdote?
The craziest thing I've ever seen happen on stage was not while we were playing, it was before we were playing. Some band from where? Who was that band? Band where the people came up on stage and had sex on stage.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. See.
Yeah, but that was not while we were playing. It was like while we were warming up, and like we were like at the side of the stage getting ready to play, and it was some band before us. It was some festival, and like the last song of their set, like these two like crust hippies like ran on stage, and the girl just like bent over the front monitor, and the guy just started wailing on her like in front of a whole fucking crowd of people. And then they just grabbed the mic and they were like, save the forests, and ran off stage.
Hippies.
Yeah,
Hippies.
it's crazy, like fucking for the forest.
I read all your lyrics.
Okay.
I love the lyrics.
Okay, that's cool.
They're really you write them. Did you write them for Fireworks and Miss Machine as well? Yeah. Okay. They're very, very personal.
Yep.
Quite deep. Involves a lot of pain, love, struggle as well, like all of that. Would it be too personal if I asked you who contributed to making those lyrics? Because like in our words, every single song is you.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting. On this record, I switched to deliberately.
I've seen that.
Because I think it's a little bit more honest and adult to instead of constantly pointing outwards, to like start to like point the finger inwards a little bit and speak from a first person standpoint instead of just like being accusatory about things. So this record was much harder for me to write lyrically because it's a lot more difficult to say I than it is to say you.
But like in our words, this you always meant a certain person?
Not. Sometimes it wasn't a person. Sometimes a you was like a metaphor for something else. Where I would, because I do that a lot. I'll personify an issue as a person, kind of, and sometimes the you is or was a real person. But yeah, I can't. I mean, if you started talking about specific songs, it would be easier for me to answer. But it's not like they were concept records where they were.
I wanted to ask you about one.
It wasn't like a whole person like Jane Doe or something like that.
Yeah.
So I can't really.
I wanted to ask you actually about one specific song from the last album.
Okay.
Parasitic Twins.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the one song on the record that I didn't write the lyrics about. I didn't write the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
That's so funny. Jeff Tuttle, our guitar player, wrote 90% of those lyrics. So
do you know anything about?
No idea. But those lyrics.
I picked the wrong song.
Those lyrics are actually pretty pertinent to things that I think that me and him were paralleling in our lives. So it's pretty cool that he wrote them, because when I read them, I can apply them to myself too, which is that's how you know they're good lyrics, when you read them and you feel like you can adapt them to your own situation or relate to them somehow,
Yeah.
So.
You've collaborated with various well-known artists on the music scene, like Mike Patton, Mike Garson, Nine Inch Nails. Who else do you wish to collaborate with?
Most of the stuff I feel really interested by collaborating in a metal art from a metal framework. I'd love to do something that was, taking someone from like a scene outside of ours, like a hip hop scene or an R&B scene or electronic scene or like something like that, and doing something along those lines. Just trying to mash two worlds together that aren't normally, put together. As far as metal is concerned, I mean, we've done the artsy stuff. We've done stuff with Mike Pat, we've done stuff with Trent Reznor, and we've done. I did a collaboration with Max Cavalera recently. So I mean, I think as far as metal goes, I don't necessarily know if there's. I don't know. I'm doing a guest vocal on the new Architects record, which will be cool.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
I just like collaborating, honestly. To me, if a band is worthwhile, if a band is good, you're always gonna learn something, even if they're the same genre as you or a different genre. If they're good at what they do, and you're forced to write with somebody that's stylistically different, because me and Ben have a vocabulary now where it's like, even though Dillinger songs take a long time, I'm pretty comfortable with how we write, So you can grow a little bit more when you're constantly doing other things too, and then you can bring those things back to the table for Dillinger, So.
Thanks for the interview, to both of you. Thank you, Ben, for being so lovely and kind.
It's very rare that he does interviews anymore. He's getting
Yeah, that's why the old wrinkled skin.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Ben?
Listen to the phonograph records. Don't use all those MP3s. MP3s, I call them. Empty freeze.
Empty freeze.
Don't use any of those empty freeze.
Okay.
Listen to your phonograph records, drink your milk, exercise, and you'll be like me.
To je bilo to. S nama sta bila Ben pa Greg iz Dillinger Escape
Thank
Plan.
you, everybody, for caring about our band. Very nice of you. Definitely, thank you. Hey, people in Slovenia, eat dicks. We're the Dillinger Escape Plan.